welcome to TezMania TV. In today's video, I'm gonna do a little bit of cooking, and I'm actually gonna be cooking my favorite dish of all times, a mushroom risotto. Yes, and I'm gonna do the cheaters risotto, so it's gonna be a little bit faster than your average risotto. If you wanna make your risotto vegan, you can just exchange the cheese for vegan cheese. And I'm making 4 portions today, even though it's just me and my friend who are gonna eat this, but it's so good, you might wanna eat a little bit extra later on. So this recipe is for 4 portions. Here is what you will need. The kind of rice one traditionally uses for risotto is called arborio rice. At least it's called that in Swedish. I don't know if it's called something else in English, but yeah, that's what it is. It's the kind that works best for risottos. And I have 3 kinds of mushrooms. We have these 2, and then we have some lovely chanterelles that I need to clean before I can use them. You're going to need some kind of wine. This is non-alcoholic wine, but regular wine or cooking wine will do fine. Vegetable stock or broth or whatever you want to call it. Garlic, shallot onions, and then the cheese. This is the cheese I'm going to use for the cooking itself, and then I have some parmesan to kind of grate over the dish once it is done. I also decided that I'm going to use a little bit of parsley in there because I love parsley. You're also going to need water and oil and salt and pepper and just regular average cooking stuff. I have both a pot and a pan ready on the stove because we're going to be using both of these. The first thing I'm going to do is add water to my pot, and I'm going to be using 7 deciliters of water. Once the water has started boiling, I'm going to add the vegetable stock, and then I'm going to pour it back into this because we're going to use this for the risotto itself. While we wait for the water to start boiling, I'm going to start by chopping up the onions. I'm going to use 3 shallots today. And then I'm taking a clove of garlic and just chopping that up as well. Water is boiling, so I'm popping the vegetable stock in there. I'm waiting for it to dissolve. And then I'm going to clean and chop up all the mushrooms as well. Mushrooms are ready. The next step is to prepare the rice, and I'm going to do that by portioning it out into a sieve and then putting it under hot water. That'll help it cook faster. This recipe calls for 4 deciliters of rice. I'm just going to let that rinse through hot water for a little while. The vegetable stock is now done, so I'm going to pour it back in to this thing. Putting the pan back on, and instead I'm going to put olive oil in there now because it's time to start frying the onions. And this is olive oil that has a little bit of spices in it, so it would add a bit of a zing. The onions only need a couple of minutes in there, and then I'm going to add the rice. And half of the vegetable stock. This needs to be stirred a lot. Not constantly, but don't leave it too long without stirring. While I wait for that, I'm going to start grating the cheese. You're going to need at least 1 deciliter of cheese. This is probably 2, but you can never have too much cheese. The wine that you're supposed to add, you can add simultaneously as you add the vegetable broth or stock. This recipe calls for 2 to 3 deciliters of white wine. It's time to fry some mushrooms. Adding a little bit more stock. Adding some more wine. And I'm going to chop up some parsley. The mushrooms are now cooked, so I'm going to put them aside. Adding just a little bit more wine. And I'm adding the last stock now. Also putting a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper in there. As a nice touch, I'm gonna slice up 2 pieces of lemon because it's just that little sour, fresh hint of zing that you want on top of your risotto. Remember to keep stirring. Once the fluid is starting to disappear and thicken, you can have a taste and see if it feels ready or not. If it's not ready, you can add some more wine or some more stock. And then it's time to add everything in there. So I'm putting the mushrooms in. And the parsley. And of course, the cheese. And just as a final twist, I'm actually going to add some arugula to it. Beautiful, flavorful salad. For the risotto, I am serving a bottle of pizzolato, which is an extra dry prosecco, so sparkling wine from Italy.